Nailed it.
And we're live. Hey, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
And we are
Nailed It the Podcast.
Nailed It the Podcast. So we're doing this a little different this time. We weren't able to get together in the studio, so we're going to, for the second time in our history, we're going to try and do this over the interwebs.
Just from us setting up, it seems like this is going to be a lot better than our first attempt. And what was that, episode 2 or 3?
2.
Whichever one.
Yeah, I believe it was our second. I think it was our second episode because we had the same problem we're having this week, but not for any other reason that we're both super busy, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
So here we go. Hey, the future. The future that people have been doing for 10 years now or whatever. We just caught up. Yeah. So I'd like to thank our overlords at Spotify for setting this up for us. So what's going on, buddy?
I mean, I can't say quite a bit, but we've both been extremely busy with music. But we've done one duo gig since our last recording.
An impromptu duo gig.
Yeah,
a solo gig that I was like, hey man, come down and play with me.
Absolutely.
That sounded weird.
Hey,
phrasing, folks, phrasing.
Yeah. Yes, we had a duo gig over at the Naughty Goose over there in Northeast Maryland.
Yep, Northeast, down in my my summer stomping grounds.
Yeah, which was always a good time. I actually remember being there this time.
Well, I've had that happen too, but not while I was playing.
But no, that was a fun evening. All in all, it was a fun evening. And then I'm trying to think how long it's been since we've recorded last.
I'm pretty sure it was early April. I mean,
was it early April?
It might have been mid, but we've been pushing this one episode a month thing to the far reaches of that because we've been busy. So
yeah,
much as we'd like to apologize and say that we won't do it again, I can't promise that. But hopefully this setup works out good for us, and we're able to, if we can't get together in the studio, at least we can get together at home and make some time. It's easier to make time, I guess, we don't have to drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, let's be fair. It's my studio. I never have to drive anywhere, but you, however, do. So
yes, people can also now see all the references we make to all the things behind you when we talk.
Right. Constantly talking about the things I have hanging on the walls in here, and you can actually see some of them. There's a whole section that way and a section this way, but this is in front of the desk, so this is what works.
Yes. So since last recording, other than I think the duo show, I haven't done. Oh no, we did a secondary duo show over at Sherwood.
Oh, we did that before the Goose show. You're right. That was the week I was not feeling the greatest of my voice, and had you not been around to help me out, we also did the show up there at Sunset Grill, Harvest Grill. That was rough. I was not.
That was a show.
I was not going to make it through that without you, and I knew it, but I didn't know it as 100% until you said, "Go ahead and sing the first song," and that didn't go well. So, I battled a little bit of allergies, which turned into a little bit of a sinus infection. It was all a mess for like 3 weeks. So, you bailed me out in a couple shows. The Sherwood was fun. It was my first time there. Different crowd than you had for your first show there, I guess.
Ugh. Yeah.
Feels like maybe summertime's the way to play there, when people want to go sit on the deck. So I have another one coming up.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt for that because it was still in that like weird midsection where it wasn't nice enough to be outside, but it wasn't insanely cold outside, but everyone would prefer to be inside. Right.
Who wouldn't want to be inside?
Right.
So
I am, however, going back there. I forget the date offhand. I'd have to look at my calendar, but I know I have it in my calendar. I do have a date to go back there, so I'm looking forward to that.
I do as well. I don't think it's till August, but I definitely have a date going back. And I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I did some Ghostlight shows while we've been off. That seems like a no-brainer to say. Of course, I did some Ghostlight shows, but I haven't done a whole lot. In fact, running up to as we're recording this, yesterday was Memorial Day. I actually had a full weekend of not actually being booked to perform anywhere. I had a Friday through Monday on a holiday weekend where I only had to do what I wanted, which was to sing with my friends, but I wasn't required to be there. So that was kind of nice to just hang out, have some drinks, maybe too many drinks, talk about things, and hang with friends down at the old Craft Haven. So I had a good time, but I'm right back on it this week. I got Thursday, Friday, almost had a Sunday, but somebody beat us to it.
Oh.
Got a show next Tuesday. It's all, the schedule's all out. I put it out there as best I can, but it's summertime. It's going to be more days playing than off. That's just how it works. So,
and where are you on where are you on those dates coming up this week?
Thursday night, Ghostlight Radio Show is making their return, their triumphant return to Sickman's Mill down in Peckway, down in Lancaster County. We played there the first summer I was with the band outside, like once a month in the summer. Beautiful area, people tube there, drinks. It's this great time if you're just going to hang out, never mind the music. And unfortunately, they have some, we'll call them stubborn neighbors in their township area that just kept complaining. So they got outdoor music shut down.
Yeah.
We played inside the old mill. It's an actual old mill building. Still has the equipment up there. And there's a bar in there. We didn't know what was to think. This was last season. We played a Thursday. They're like, we're going to try the inside. I'm like, I don't know if anybody's going to want to come inside on a Thursday when it's super nice. And where right outside the door is like the river or the creek, whatever it is.
Right.
The water and the tubing and the drinks. And we were packed from the minute we started till we stopped. It was one of the better shows we played last year. And they're like, we're going to do this once a month. And then the township shut them down again until they had to go through a meeting at the end of last season. So they opened it back up for the mill. I believe they had their opening last week with a band. I'm not sure who it was. But they opened for their outdoor season. So we're playing there from 7 to 9:30, 9:15 or 9:30 Thursday night, the 30th of May. And Saturday, we're back at the American Legion in Lancaster on Arcadia Road. We do a couple of the Legions in the Lancaster County area, and that's one of our favorites, actually, right off Route 72. Cool place to hang out. They're super nice to bands. Like all these private clubs and Legions and VFWs have been to us. They treat on a kind of a different level than some of the times I've been used to with bigger clubs and bars over the years, which isn't really the thing anymore. But it's always nice to go to a place that wants you there. Like the people come to see you. So we've got that going on. And then, like I said, I'm off the rest of the weekend. Got some things, supposedly going to visit a show on Saturday up at Love Drafts, the 10 years, 10th iRock radio party. Some friends of ours are playing. Lynn Hurst, Dinosaurs in Paris. The band 10 Years is headlining it. They worked that out very nicely with their 10th anniversary.
Oh, that's awesome.
There was also there's an acoustic stage outside, which starts really early. It has a whole another set of bands before the inside stage starts. We were informed yesterday, or I guess Sunday actually, unfortunately, the band Varsity, who I've been listening to since I first heard them and haven't had the chance to see, we're supposed to be headlining the acoustic stage, which is really cool to me. Obviously I love acoustic stuff, and they dropped out over the weekend. So that's unfortunate. But the plan, I assume, is to still make that. But you never know what happens. Never know what's going to happen, because I was going to ask you if you wanted to go to that show, but turns out as of yesterday? I guess it was yesterday. I saw it.
Officially, it was announced last week. I think we launched the event page last week. But what we're referring to is Lysdexia is going to be having their second show ever at the Racehorse Tavern over there in Thomasville, PA. It'll be us in Lysdexia with my friend Johnny West with his group, the Left Hand of Johnny West, as well as doing a Mosh Fits mini set in there. And then a band called, I have it pulled up here. I feel like a horrible promoter, but I have it pulled up here. Blessed Are the Broken. I haven't gotten a chance to check them out yet, but I like the name.
So I assume they're children's music then?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It sounds like a real... Go ahead.
It's it's Lysdexia, The Left-Handed Johnny West, and Blessed Are the Broken, from 8 to midnight over at the Racehorse Tavern.
There you go, folks. You're going to be in town. Can go check them out, their second gig. I still have yet to see you guys live other than video, but you did, however, and we'll get into this, you released a couple of songs the same day from this band. Now, we've talked about the band on the podcast. You've talked about it coming or something, but let's just go from start. I'm interviewing you now, co-host, and you're going to tell me. I want to hear the history of this band and what got you up to releasing these songs, and now you're doing shows. So please tell us what Lysdexia is.
So Lysdexia is basically the brainchild of me and our good friend Dave Z.
Don't get his head big. I have a side note about Dave. We'll talk about after we're done talking about the band here.
And if I remember correctly, it was one of those things where I had written a tune, and I think I might have sent it to both of you just to get feedback on the actual track, as I do. And he had then said, hey, why don't we try working on a song together? And like I wrote this tune, and he within a day had a whole set of lyrics, and we wound up just talking a little bit more and saying like, hey, well, why don't we try doing this? And within an hour, then he's like, oh, I got a drummer, oh, I got a bass player, I got a guitar player. And then we got together at rehearsal, our very first rehearsal, to when I realized that he just got stricken to be this band. So it was Dave, myself, Jason, Joe, and Steve. Through a couple rehearsals with them, we had a couple lineup changes then where Steve had stepped down, and we got our new guitarist Matt, who is insane. This man is an insane guitar player. And then we had added a keyboardist, Shane, which threw me for a loop because I've never been in a band that had a keyboard player. So it's interesting to play with that new, in a sense, a new instrument, or somebody that can do a new instrument that you've never really played with before.
Gotcha.
And once we finally kind of gelled, we started working on this one tune that Dave and I had written together, and we still have this song. We've never released it yet, but that's for another time. We started, throwing other ideas around, and I threw another song at him, another instrumental, and I said, hey, what do you guys think of this? And they all loved it. And once again, Dave had lyrics written in a couple hours for this song. So we got together. Oh yeah. So we got together, recorded vocals for it, and we had a complete song that we were all happy with. We all loved it. And while in this entire process, our drummer Joe sent us a instrumental that he had written and recorded, and it was sick. And I was like, we need to do this one too. And again, Dave, being the lyricist that he is, had lyrics in hours. Then again, laid vocals down for that one. So we had these two songs done, and I had said to the guys, I was like, what if we released a single? And they were all for it. And we were trying to figure out which one to release because we liked them both so much. And I said, wouldn't it be fitting that a band called Lysdexia releases two songs as a single? And so we just said, screw it, and we released them both, which are the two songs available everywhere, called I'm Not All Right and Bow Before Your Maker. So you can check those out. I have to point at my camera because I'm not used to it being there. You can check that out on all streaming services, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and I like that I was able to hear some of this stuff ahead of time. I've had that happen in years past, even with Dave's former band Bullet Method. I
Yeah.
heard a lot of the songs before they were finished, before there was lyrics. It's fun for me to hear stuff from my friends from kind of the ground up like that. Um, like I said, unfortunately, I haven't been able to catch your first show, and I'm not sure I'll be able to catch the second one. But it's going to happen. I mean, I know you have at least one other thing later in the year. We've talked about this before
Yep.
that you had already booked. So, and I'm sure you'll keep bringing them up and popping them up. And obviously, Dave's one of my oldest friends here, especially in this music thing. So I've always been a fan of Dave's work, even though I try not to tell him because God, his head's big enough. But I'm excited that I have two friends in the band and not just two guys I know from time to time. Like I know Trag. Jason's a hell of a bass player. I've seen him play since when I started,
Yeah.
way back in the scene. We didn't know each other, but I saw him play. And we have a mutual good friend now, so I see him a little more often. But I know, and obviously I've met Joe dozens of times because of Stricken, and he was doing head case for a while, and so I know the guys and I know the quality of the work. So I can't imagine that this is going to be a bad thing for you guys. So this is cool. I do want to point out that we mentioned Dave Gates' podcast on this podcast more than we do our own, but on his Solo Musician podcast, I just finished his current episode today, and he had Chris Ryder, the photographer and article writer for P Musician. We met him at the CPMAs.
Yes.
He's got something to do with the organization. Chris, great guy. I knew his work was good, and I also, from talking to him, he was really good to talk to. And hearing him today, real down to earth guy, but he brought up Dave today on that episode, and how when he not first time, but probably the second time he saw Stricken, is when he heard Dave do Sounds of Silence.
Okay.
And he assumed that, oh man, don't mess this up. This song means a lot to me, this version. And he talks about how blown away he was at the way Dave did that. And I thought, man, we all felt that way too, but you can't tell him that because then, but, and since Dave doesn't listen to podcasts, to my knowledge, he's never going to hear those compliments from anyone. But I thought it was fun that just happened to be something I heard today. And then here we are discussing a band Dave's and how good he is at writing lyrics. And he's so good at that, so quick. He just doesn't, it takes him no time to figure out the melodies and what he wants to say. And man, I can't write my way out of a wet paper bag.
So I'm the same way.
It's always been frustrating to me how good he is in a competitive friendship way. Like, not like, screw that guy. I mean, screw that guy. But one of these days, we've been saying this for a year now. One of these days, we're going to get Dave on this podcast, and hopefully he can give us the insights on how good he is at doing stuff, or why it's so easy for him. It could be that he's done it for so long. I don't know, but it definitely works out. And I think you got a positive tool there because I think you're a good songwriter too, and I think he hasn't probably worked like that in a while. So hopefully big things for you guys. I hope that's the way it works. Not too big that we can't all play shows together because we all need a good nailed it train wreck once in a while. But
I had to laugh. Dave and I were talking about this at our last rehearsal. It is in the beginning of July. Yes, on July 6th, I'm doing a neighborhood party, or some kind of private
block party.
Yeah, it's like a neighborhood block party. That this couple that had seen me play at the Falls a while back, they had seen me play there, and they talked to me, asked me if I wanted to play. I said, sure, absolutely. We got it all squared away, and I'd say a week or two later, Dave was playing there. Same couple was there, and they asked him if he would follow me. So, and they were like, "Oh, do you know? We have this other guy playing that played here a while ago," and Dave reluctantly was like, "Was it Jake?" And they're like, "Oh, do you know him?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm in 2 bands with him." So that'll be a fun night. It's me and then Dave afterwards. And the way we work, it'll probably be me and Dave at some point, but with both of our sets.
You're gonna get a call at some point from Dave like that morning, like, why don't we just both play the whole thing?
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So,
But also following that, and it's funny because you have mentioned our good friend Dave Gates. The following day, I will be joining him on his podcast.
excellent. I was going to ask you if you reached out to him. I know he's like booked pretty solid for the next 2 months or something with interviews. So, and we still need to get him on here. I have he and I were fully on board with that, and it just didn't happen the same weekend that sat down with him for his podcast. I was hoping to get him in with us, and it just didn't work out. Also, a very busy man, so we'll definitely do that. I feel like I'm every time I bring up a guest, you and I have an off camera, off air conversation. We're going to get this person on. And then I listen to Dave's things like, so I talked to so and so. They're going to be on the show. I'm like, you're poaching our people, bruh.
Yeah.
No, he's going after the good local musicians. So I know he's hoping to have our partner in guitar makers or guitar brands, Alex Warner. I believe he is got lined up for next month or something.
Yeah.
So he's going to the youth people, which is awesome because I think he's got a really good platform for it. Not that we don't. We're just not as consistent as Dave. That man's 2 episodes a week since the beginning of the year. He's on his 21st interview. Plus, he does a Thursday Thoughts thing so he hasn't done it every week since he started, but the man's probably got 50 episodes, 60 episodes under his belt already.
Yeah.
And we're barely getting through 2 seasons because we're not consistent, folks.
I'm trying to think of the other show, the one that I had mentioned, but we saved for the show. I have to get the information up because this was booked very last minute. But it was pretty neat. I had received a message online from my good friend Jared Missimer, who is a fantastic photographer. He does a lot of work for Three Legacies Wrestling. And,
yeah. I've heard of them.
Yeah, a little bit.
You mentioned them before.
He had messaged me basically saying like, "Hey, are you free June 1st?" And the first thing I was like, "When June 1st?" And he gave me the time frame, and he said there's an event going on held by this business called the Nine Collective, and I had heard of them. They're based out of Lancaster, right off of Columbia Avenue.
Okay.
And I know, I want to say it's the owner. She as well is a big supporter of Three Legacies, so that's why I know these people. And they said, we're looking for some local music to be a part of this event that they're holding. It's called Vibe Fest, and it's basically just a big event with vendors and food and music and all kinds of fun stuff.
Right.
And worked out some details with him, and I will be playing there at Vibe Fest from 2 to 4 to do a little acoustic set, just doing what I do. So that'll be a fun time. I think if I remember correctly, it's going to be outdoors, which is going to be nice. I don't get to play outside very
as
often.
long as the weather holds up, we're in that time of year where outdoor shows are kind of the only way to go.
Yeah.
For a lot of things, especially acoustic, as long as the weather doesn't, put a stop to it. So.
Right. And
then you're gonna what?
What's that?
You're gonna just jump in the car then and haul ass up to Mechanicsburg is what's gonna happen, right?
Mechanicsburg.
Oh, sorry, Thomasville.
You're going to Mechanicsburg.
Mechanicsburg. Yep. See, folks, this is what happens. Look, I didn't even change my work clothes today, guys. I put the Bob hat on and I sat down in front of this computer. I don't want to bore you with the mundane details of my day job, but being in charge of a place and having a Monday off, having 3 days off, is 5 days worth of work for me to come back to.
Listen,
so
you're already a step ahead of me. I don't even have a bandana on today. I literally just woke up from a nap right over there.
Yeah, well, audio isn't normally a problem, but we're okay. It's fine. People have seen you without one of those on, maybe.
Yeah. If I wake
they
up.
will now. They will now. Yeah. So yeah. You're not going. I mean, if you go to Mechanicsburg, you're gonna be late for your show. Well, I guess you probably. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have to pretty much go out there and get ready, aren't you? Are you guys headlining that thing?
We are. If I remember correctly, the order of the show is Was it Blessed are the Broken?
Yes.
Yes, I gotta remember these names.
It's all right. You'll get it. Or you
So
won't.
it's Blessed are the Broken, The Left Hand of Johnny West, and then Lysdexia.
Excellent.
And adding into that, because I've known Johnny West for quite some time now through when I was in Transylvania 666, we had done a few shows with the Mosh Fits because it kind of worked in that same genre. And
Right.
we became really good friends with him to the point where Johnny recorded the Transylvania 666 album that we did at his little home studio that he has. And he's featured on our version of the Monster Mash, which he's fantastic. We got to talking a little bit, and with the Mosh Fits, he does the Danzig era of Misfits, as well as a lot of the Danzig solo stuff, this Sam Hain stuff, because this dude sounds like Danzig, and it blows my mind. But I had mentioned to him, I was like, what if the Mosh Fits did a Michael Graves era set of the Misfits? Because that to me was my favorite era of the Misfits. I love that the way the direction they went in that time frame. And we had gotten to talk where if they did that, they would have me sing to do the Michael Graves stuff. And I think we're gonna do that on Saturday. Is we're gonna do like a small test run, 3 or 4 songs where they'll bring me up and we'll do a couple Michael Graves tunes just to see how it goes. So
That's
that
cool.
I'm pretty excited for.
Well, so you're really putting it in Saturdays, what you're saying.
Yes.
And here I am, like,
want
I
the
got
attention.
right. Well, we're musicians and singers, of course we do. I was actually thinking about how nice it was that I don't. This is one of the few weekends where I have a Thursday gig, and I have throughout the summer. I probably have at least 2 Thursday gigs with the full band a month. Never mind any solo gigs, my fall stuff, that kind of thing. But I was thinking how nice it is that I'm going to play Thursday and Friday, and then I have off Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
That's weird to me because usually because of the way we work in the summer, we usually book 3 days and then we have off a weekend and we book 3 more days. And the fact that we're not playing in Northeast, because that's pretty much where most of Ghostlight's shows are this year.
Yeah.
We're playing all the places there, and I'm doing the solo gigs. Got that? I do have that coming back up. We got the Wellwood as a band down there. Yeah, and I have another solo gig at the Goose on Father's Day. An afternoon
that's right.
gig on the
you
deck.
did tell me that.
Assuming it doesn't get rained out. That kind of put the damper on our show the other week. People were not interested in coming out and sitting inside, and I get it.
Yeah.
That's a bummer of a thing, which is something I did want to talk about tonight too while we have the time and it came up, is shows like that where you're basically playing for the bartender and maybe 1 or 2 of your friends. Yeah. Like you and I have both done gigs like this during the week, which a Sunday afternoon maybe. It's pretty disheartening, even after years of doing this in different, sizes and shapes, so to speak, as far as my band sizes, to play a gig that long and have that last hour basically just you and I playing for 3 people and maybe a rotating patron at the bar. I don't know how that's fun for the bar, the bartender, their bottom line, any of it. But I left that gig just kind of deflated, when normally we go into gigs, even the duo gigs, even if it's a smaller crowd, we have fun with it. Yeah. And we did the first hour and a half, or set and a half, I should say. And then it just, that last hour, even the bar manager left. And she's generally, and I love you, Michelle. You've been very good to me and my bands. You're very cool about letting me come down there and play when you had no idea if I was good solo or not. Spoilers, I'm not. And I just was, and don't get me wrong, I don't expect anyone to stay at a show. I don't expect my own wife to stay at a full show or come. I appreciate it. But for someone I've seen sit through our whole show, no matter who is there, to get up and leave, I don't know. I guess I shouldn't. It's not a complaint. I don't mean it to be a complaint. I really do appreciate anybody that comes to see us at any time and stays when they do, as much as they do or as little as they do. Anything, as you've heard me say many times at shows, without those people, we might as well just do this. Right. Sit in our separate bedrooms and play music. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just, man, that really took the wind out of my sails. And for it to be what was essentially the last show I had before the holiday break
Yeah.
is like, wah, wah, but I guess it happens more often. I've only been doing, a year and a half or so of solo gigs and not that many a month. You know what I mean? I haven't been doing them so long that I can be like, well, any other time there's a billion people. No,
Right.
there's not. There never is. I mean, I have some really great shows. We have really great duo gigs, the full band, whatever. But that's been sticking with me for a couple weeks now.
Yeah.
A place like that in the nice weather is a hell of a place to play. And I know firsthand playing outside, people come in off the marina and stuff, but playing inside on a Saturday night when it's raining and no one's there for 4 hours is brutal.
Yeah.
But if I didn't like the idea of playing, I would say no. I mean, I could have canceled. Maybe I should have. When she moved us from the afternoon because of the weather, I should have said maybe we shouldn't do this. But I'm not a quitter, so to speak. Like I hate canceling gigs. Hate it.
Oh,
so, yeah. I mean, the whole thing just seemed very, like I said, I was a little deflated. I don't know how you felt about it, but that's where I was. It was nice to do the gig, and I'm glad you got a chance to speak, on the other side of it, the stage side of it, so to speak. But
yeah,
I felt like we got paid to practice.
Yeah, I've definitely had those moments before where you play to a room that's next to nothing, or just
careful. That's my Breaking Benjamin band name.
Yeah, like playing to that room that might have one, maybe two people, and sometimes you play to a room of nobody and just the bartenders. Sometimes not even that.
Right.
It does get disheartening at times when you finish a song and you let that last chord ring out and you hear crickets. It's very very humbling. I don't know if humbling is the right word for that, but it's definitely something to think about and take from as well.
Right.
I never look at it as a negative thing personally or like as a musician. But it's definitely something to learn from and work with. Like, you don't want to sit there in between songs for so long just because there's nobody there.
Right.
Like, you want to give back to the bar for having them have you, but also you kind of want to not waste your time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I meant with it. And you respect that the club, bar, whatever it is, has music and lets you play, and you want to entertain people. But that's my thing. I 100% do this for the entertainment of it. Like, some guys literally do it because they need the attention, and I do not need the attention. In fact, if people don't look at me while I'm playing, they won't see me screw up. But I am taken out of my element quite a bit if there's nobody there that's into it. It bums me out, and unfortunately, I'm sure that's physically obvious, which is like a number one no-no when you're out there playing a solo gig or a full band. You shouldn't let the audience know you're off for any reason. And I know it's like the joke about women with resting bitch face. They just can't help it. That's me on stage. If I'm having a bad time, it looks like I don't want to be there, and I don't mean it to be, because I want to be anywhere I am, but I don't want to play for no one. Like, I'm grateful to be there, but I don't want to just be trying out new material for the wall.
Right.
So,
yeah, I had a situation like that not too terribly long ago, where I was playing to one, maybe two people, and then as the night went on, I was playing to nobody. Bartenders were not even at the bar where I was playing. So I was playing to an empty room, just basically practicing, which
right.
was again it was disheartening, but I tried to at least hold my end of the bargain and continue to play even though there was nobody there, So that way, in case someone did show up and they'd be like, oh, so there's live music here and this guy's singing. Um, I'm still holding up my end of the bargain that was made up with the bar.
Right. You're part of the contract, so to speak.
Right.
Whether it's a which there usually isn't physical contracts for what we do in solo gigs, but I mean there's a verbal, unspoken, contract of services. Basically, they're paying us whatever it be to play for X amount of time and entertain people. Sometimes they're just paying us because or booking us because they need something to fill that Thursday night slot because they have music and we need people. And they could care less if they can hear you. I haven't run into it a lot. I usually get more people that tell me I'm not loud enough.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of guys are like, oh, yeah, you're too loud. We're trying to eat dinner. Like, that's the kind of stuff that just, I guess as you do it more, you roll with it. But, I often wonder about places that have entertainment at 6 o'clock at night when people are eating dinner.
Yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you? I come from a school of when you were still in probably in elementary school when I started playing. We played. The bar would start letting people in at 8, and we always, if we had an opener, they went on at 9, and we played from 10 to 1:45.
Yeah.
Every time we played, and you didn't get home till 3, 4 in the morning, and that's just the way it was. Music was late night, unless you're going to a full on concert where they. You start the show at 7, everybody goes home at 11 because it's a concert venue. But the bar scene, we were up late. And COVID changed that, thankfully, for the best. Like, not just because I'm getting older. Like, I never thought you should ask people to stay past midnight. Because once you take a break towards midnight, you lose most of the crowd.
Absolutely.
And I love that we play earlier shows. Don't get me wrong, I'm playing 7 to 9 in a couple of days. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But with a full band. But also, 7 to 9, there's still people trying to work out their dinner, or are they going to go out tonight? Or it's almost, I think one of the best schedules we have time wise is like the 8 to 11 slot.
Yeah.
As a full band. It gives people time to do what they're going to do with their families if they have them, whatever. Go out and get dinner, or come to the place they're seeing the show and have dinner beforehand. And by 8 o'clock, the dinner crowd's not there anymore. It's the crowd that wants to be out. And by 11 o'clock, everybody can get home in a decent hour till the next day, whatever. I really, I love a good 7 to 10. It really gets me home early.
Yeah.
But 8 to 11 is probably the sweet spot for not stepping on anybody's night. But not everybody's going to do that. So people only want, I play my regular gig at the Falls. The Falls Crab Shack is a Tuesday night because I don't do weekends. I'm never around. It's a Tuesday night from 6 to 8. I play straight through. I never take a break. There's people there. Sometimes it's a lot. Sometimes it's not. But there's always people there. But they come in knowing that there's going to be somebody there.
Right.
They're not going to ask me to play 8 to 10 on a Tuesday. Nobody cares. Not that nobody cares. Nobody would necessarily be there. They're used to that 6 to 8. But on a Friday or Saturday, you play 9 to midnight there or whatever, because that's when they're expecting entertainment. They still get it. So
there has been I think it was only one time that I had convinced a location to adjust their times. I had done 1 or 2 shows there where they had me doing a 8:30 to 11:30. And I think I'd done that 2 or 3 times, and by the 3rd time, I told him I was like, why don't we try doing this? Let's change it to 7 to 10, because same situation was when I would take my last break, the whole place would empty, and the only people that would be there would be my 2 friends that would show up, and the bartenders. So I was talking to him, and I was like, hey, I know you guys do this for everybody. The 8:30 to 11:30, but let's try this. I said, let's
just
try
one
doing
time.
Just one time. Let's try doing 7 to 10. And they were like, sure, yeah, we'll do it, no problem. And it was such a difference. People, because to me, I prefer that 7 to 10, not just for time's sake, like getting home, but 7 o'clock is kind of that sweet spot where people are just finishing up dinner. If they just want to go out to the bar afterwards, or if people are going out to dinner, they're still there.
Right.
So you have that dinner crowd still there, or you have that, getting the night started bar people. And we did that one show, and it was like night and day. Place was packed.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
From
That
start
makes
to
sense.
finish, and it was fantastic. Unfortunately, haven't been
Well,
back there since, but I'm gonna see if I can get back in there soon.
hey, not a problem. You know, you gotta go after it.
Yeah.
I actually don't. There might be an occasional thing that might pop up that I might ask you if you're free, or like I gotta go do during the week or something. But I pretty much don't have a Friday or Saturday free for playing until like December at this point. So
Yeah.
which is still amazing. I had this same problem last year where I was so booked that I couldn't keep my head straight, and I'd never been that busy. And I'm on track, I think, to play just as many or more shows this year, and it's what I want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also what I wanted to do and not go to work every day. But that's not happening. Music's fun, but man, you really got to change your lifestyle if you want to pay the bills. And I'm not.
Right.
I didn't work this long. It's hard to change my lifestyle. I'm not going to live in a van down by the river just so I can play some chicken
Play
fried
some
for the
wagon
crowds on Tuesday night. Yeah. Oh God. Or the safe word, Freebird. So thankfully I'll never be good enough to play Freebird correctly. So I never have to worry about that. I can 100% say, I'm sorry, folks, I can't do that song.
There has only
you, on the other hand, like, hey, let me go.
There has only ever been one time that I have played that song from start to finish, and that was that Union House gig we did where our good old friend Dave Heisey came up
and played the extended 35-minute cut because he was a little tipsy. And we're like, it's fine. I was at the bar. You guys are having a good time.
It was the longest radio edit version I have ever heard because I'm pretty sure we cut out like 5 verses and went right to the solo that I didn't know.
Good thing Dave did.
Yeah.
He knows everything. And as you know, I was hoping while I was down at Craft Haven this weekend, shout out to my Craft Haven peeps. Great weekend. I'll talk about that in a second here, but I was hoping to sit down with Dave and get an interview with him to just kind of talk about his musical journey. He's doing some new stuff with a bluegrass band. Like, he does everything. And unfortunately, just holiday weekend, that just didn't happen. There was no time till we were all doing stuff, and poor guy had his boat break down, had to be towed back in. It was a whole thing.
Oh, no.
So, but he joined in with the band we had down there. We had our friends in Phys Ed, who is Ed Allison from 30 other bands in the area. He's just as bad as me. Loves to perform. But Ed was there. Eric McNeil, who is the drummer for Screaming Daisies, formerly GMG. Their friend Josh Wolpert, who is quite possibly one of the best guitar players I've ever met or played with. And he kind of just gave it up to do on the side when he feels like it. Got married, but when I was coming up, I saw the kid start when he was 16, and stupid good, but he won't listen to this either, so he'll never hear my compliments. But they have this band called Phys Ed, basically doing whatever they need to make the crowd work. Ed plays bass and sings for the most part, sings lead vocals, and Josh does a couple songs, but Dave, being who he is, he's played with them before, and he did last Memorial Day we had them.
I remember that. I just saw the videos of that.
Yeah, so Dave set up for the whole show. He wasn't sure to be able to do it all, but he set up for the whole show. What an amazing way to start a season. What a great time we had. I was like, of course I'm going to sing a song or two. The first song I got up 3 or 4 songs in was sober. That's the kind of night they were playing. Tool came up right away, which I immediately blew my voice out because I couldn't hear anything. But I was drunk and didn't care.
Right.
Great lesson for singers. Drink a lot and go sing. You'll never lose your voice. Lies. And I ended up there like 8 songs, like the usual. I'll get it for a song or two, just all night. Our good friend Eeg was there. Eeg was there helping him. Well, he showed up, and they asked to make sure the sound was good, stick around, and then he, of course, got up and played, and then played. Josh's brother Ian, who's a phenomenal bass player. Again, these two boys grew up playing instruments together. I'd love to get one of them on the show with us sometime. Their history.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But there's been famous people who are siblings in bands and stuff, but I've never physically shared so many stages with guys. Those two were so locked in when they played together.
Yeah.
They used to be in a really good metal cover band with our friend Jimmy for a while.
Okay.
World's End. Jimmy wasn't the original drummer, but he was in there at the end. But Ian was there, so he got up and played a song with us, and like Ed jumped on drums. Like, it was just this round robin of things like we do normally when we show up at our friends' shows and we might get up and sing or play a song. But this was just all night. And as you know from down there, the crowd, man, I don't know how to explain how much fun that is, but I have yet to have a better show than the 2 times now Ghostlight played there last year.
Yeah.
Were the 2 best shows I've ever played in my life. And I assume when we play on Labor Day this year, will be the same thing. Right. Every time a band comes there, it doesn't matter if they're good, bad, indifferent. If that crowd knows them, they can yell out all the songs. People yell out songs, play this or that. Of course, not every band knows them, every song, but that crowd respects and loves the entertainment so much that we bring down there that I couldn't ask for anything better. Never mind that I'm a part of it or not. Like, I'm a part of the scene there, even if I'm on the side of the stage watching.
Right.
It was an amazing time, made for a great week and great way to kind of kick off summer, and can't wait to get back to it. Like I said, I have Ghostlight at the end of the year. We decided that'll be the Labor Day band. I always try and throw a party on my birthday. This year is August 3rd, Saturday, August 3rd. As of right now, making an official announcement. No paper. Hot and Dangerous, our friends Hot and Dangerous are playing. Our friend Travis is going to be DJing in between and before. He has some really interesting mixes he's made over the years, like putting like different rock songs together with a pop. Like, you hear a lot of mashups, but his mashups are unique. And, for instance, he has an NWA and Taylor Swift mashup that works like a dream. Like, there's just stuff like that. And he's like, he doesn't DJ much anymore. Said, I should do that sometime. Said, how would you like to come on my birthday? So there will be one other band or musical act for the night. I just don't have all the details, so that's why I haven't said anything. Right. There is, for the first time in a couple of years, someone else has booked a band for 4th of July weekend, so I'm not even sure what the details are. But we generally try to do the holidays down there, and I throw my birthday in because there's no August holidays except for Bob Day. So Pickle Shot Bob's 3rd annual birthday party will be coming. And I do want to point out, though, going back to Phys Ed, someone else had booked a band for the weekend. So I did not have to do it. Our friend Marshall, we didn't have to have anything to do the first half of summer. I was like, cool, less work we got to worry about. That band, they found out last Monday, could not do it. So it was like super last a post went out in our group, and I got in there and said to Shelly, the woman, her man John run the place and own the place, and I said, I'll see what I can do. I made one text to Ed, ironically about his Y2 Kids band playing. I thought we'd give him a shot because I think what they play would have went over. And he's like, we're not available. I'm pretty sure Phys Ed is. And it took that afternoon, the band was booked. Yeah. Like, that's how quick not only I was able to find someone, but how quick our friends who know about Craft Haven are willing to, like, yeah, we'll drop everything and do that. Yeah. So shout out to those guys for basically making a last minute decision to play and having a blast. I can't. There's so many reasons. The crowd, the music was good. The guys are exceptional players and singers, and also they get paid pretty damn well based off the generosity of that campground. Yeah. We try to run more or less a 50-50 raffle to cover what the band's minimum is. Right. And if not, myself, a couple other guys, will make sure that their minimums are covered no matter what. But no band's ever come there and not made way more than their minimum since we implemented the 50-50 thing, and there's tip jars and stuff. You take a risk as a band coming down and saying, some bands have come down and say, we'll just play for the tips and the 50. Right. Some guys are like, look, we need our minimum, but just our bare minimum. Yeah. Cool. I understand that. I'm in a band too. And we don't come down for less than our minimum either. But the generosity of that place and just the thought of, I could win this money also, the band's getting taken care of, and it's a completely different feeling than having to worry about, well, who's got the check? What time do we need exactly to need to be on? I've played plenty of outdoor gigs and parties and stuff, and there's still like you got to be on at this time. You need to be off at that time. Who do I give the money to for you? Usually a private party. Who do I pay before you get started? Well, first of all, sir, never do that. Never pay a band before they go on. Right. But this has turned into some sort of love fest for Craft Haven, which could happen anytime we bring it up. Absolutely. I mean, you're fully aware of what that campground's about, but I just wanted to point out what a good music, quote unquote, venue it is for an outdoor place. And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that have campgrounds that have bands like, oh, we get the best bands. You may do that. You probably get bigger bands than anything we bring down there. But I've played a couple campgrounds and things, and I struggle to find any place that has the vibe that the old Haven does. Right. So shout out to my summertime peeps.
Yeah, and
that's off soapbox.
Yeah. No, I can fully agree with you on that. Like both of us, we've played there as Nailed It, the full band once. I know it's at least once, but in that one time, for even Nailed It, and I say that as like for being the kind of band we are, people still love the music and are so supportive. They get into it, bring in our friends that are also musicians up to play with us. It's all so supported by those people, and it is so fun to play there.
Yep. Well, and that's also, by the way, before you ask me on or off camera, I did not ask you guys to be free, although I want you there for my birthday if you can. I would actually like to have a birthday where I don't have to perform. The last 2 birthdays I did down there, I had to do, I opened up acoustic or we played. I would like to actually, it's one thing to sing a song or two. I'd actually like to have the night off.
Yeah.
So
no, that's understandable.
That's why I didn't ask any of you guys, but I do want you guys to be there. But yeah, you're right. It was one time the full band because that was Dave when he was wearing his pink Tupac outfit.
Yeah, that's where One Pac was born.
One Pac, the pink bandana wearer, was born. So good times.
That was my bandana too.
I have a pink one too, but it's Beartooth. That's why it's pink, purplish pink, I guess. Anyway, I brought them up. Oh. I did it. They weren't just behind me here.
Yeah, as they're hanging in your corner.
No subtle references to Beartooth here. But yeah, I think going forward, and we'll have plenty of time to talk about that place as the summer goes on, because I'm sure as we get together, I'll just have weekend stories of what happened. At least it's something a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Eventually, we'll get an episode down there as well.
Yeah, that's something I did want to bring up for people to hear. I feel like we hold ourselves accountable more if we actually say it on the episodes. But for lack of a better term, I think we need to have episodes at the bay where we just sit down on my deck or down at the pavilion, even if we're not interviewing anyone. Just sit down there and talk about what's going on, do our episodes from there, maybe little episodes. I think that would be fun. It'd be a little aside to just us doing studio stuff like this. So, and Absolutely. We still, by the way, have never done any live music on our podcast like we said we were going to.
We haven't.
We were going to do acoustic stuff. We had such big hopes for ourselves. One of these days we'll do that. We can't do it this way because the lag would kill us.
Oh my God, that would be awful.
But one of us would be like 2 seconds behind the other one at all times. Play 2 seconds ahead. But we'll get around to that. We could definitely do that. So I'm looking forward to, as always, getting stuff going. Obviously, we're not getting to our top 5 tonight because of the situation we're in, but we'll get back on track of that too. We've already had some topics we want to discuss. So
yeah.
But I figured that tonight was a night to talk about what your new music going on and just the happenings we've had since the last episode to get this May episode out before the month is over. Sticking to my guns on this one.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess if you have anything else to bring up for this episode.
No, sir.
Just to recollect on all of our upcoming shows, you can check myself out in Lancaster 2 to 4 at the 9 Collective for Vibe Fest. There is a Facebook event for it. You can check it out on Facebook. Then that evening, now I did it. That evening, on June 1st, I will be at Racehorse Tavern with Lysdexia. And then a couple other acoustic shows later on. I think that's all I have for June. And then I'm sure I'll say more in the June episode and in the July episode as well.
Right. And myself, I have Sickman's Mill down in Lancaster, Peckway, Thursday night. the 30th with Ghostlight Radio Show. We're playing 7 to 9:30, I believe, or 7 to 9:15. It's an odd time. But it's a Thursday night. That'll be a good time. Friday night, we're at the Arcadia Road American Legion Post 34 in Lancaster, right off Route 72. Great time. That is open to the public. There's a $5 cover charge. So you can get in if you're not a member. Good food there, good staff. Non-smoking in the room. We play big open room. And I'm off the rest of the weekend. Who knows where I'll end up? Possibly in Thomasville at the racehorse, or we will be, of course, seeing. And if everybody's looking for a rock show and supporting a good thing, iRock Radio has been around 10 years. Yeah. I've talked to some of the guys that have been very cool dudes, very good organization, very supportive of local music as well. And this is their 10th anniversary, their 10 years party with the band 10 years at Love Drafts in Mechanicsburg, and a bunch of other, including our friend Dinosaurs in Paris. Obviously, Lyndhurst, our boys, and the whole acoustic stage. I believe Defiant's doing the acoustic stage. They're your buddies in Defiant.
Yep.
If I hear right, so and all I know about timing is I was told Lyndhurst is on at 3 or 3:30 inside, so they are starting early with this guy. It's basically it's an all day thing. So
yeah.
And other than that, next week, the first week of June, I have on the. I believe it would be the 4th, the 3rd, whatever Tuesday is. I'm going to look at my calendar.
I know, I'm doing that too. How unprofessional of us.
Tuesday the 4th, I'm at Falls Crab Shack for my now once every 8 weeks show. They've actually gotten pretty stocked up on different artists. It used to be the same 4 or 5 of us every month. But they're really rotating out. But I'll be there 6 to 8. Keep in mind that our good friend Jenica's behind the bar, and they serve up some pretty mean cheesesteaks and chicken cheesesteaks there on Tuesdays for the special. So nobody's doing anything. Come out, have some dinner, and listen to me. Maybe play a new song that I didn't listen to before I played it. Got to get on that. And folks, I'm going to point this out here for anybody who's listening, which is just our friends mostly, until we make it big. If there's anything you want to hear myself play at a show, or Jake play at a show, or us in our duo, or the full band, message us. Send us a message on the podcast page, our personal page. You can find me on Facebook, obviously / Den Mother Music, where my booking is. Nailed It the Pod. You can find me Ghostlight Radio Show. Jake has his Jake Scholl music. Is it just Jake Scholl? No music behind it?
Now you're
you have an artist page and a personal page, though, right?
I do have an artist page.
Okay, yeah.
Let me find that real quick. I have it right here. It is. We need a drum roll sound effect as my.
That's as good as you're getting on my desk.
It is not where I thought it was.
Fair enough. While he's looking for that, you can also find us because of our band, Nailed It the Band, on Facebook. And our podcast is on TikTok, and you can email us. And, there's all kinds of links when you look at our stuff. And obviously, wherever you're listening to your podcasts or your audio, same with Jake's songs, you can find us on those things too. Just search Nail It the Pod, Nail It the Podcast. You'll find us. We'd love to grow this. We'd love to, get some more exciting guests on and do some other things, which we've always planned to do. And hey, if anybody wants to do any sponsorship or ad reading, I'm not even saying pay us to read your ads. I'm saying if you want to have your local product or something you want to promote, I will be more than happy to. I'm sure Jake would.
Absolutely.
To read an ad for you online. That. We can monetize ourselves later if that's what we get to a popularity level. But I would love to help out local people that, we're looking for something like that, want to hear how their stuff would sound, over the air. And why not help out our friends while helping out ourselves? That can only make us better by doing that stuff. So if you got something local you want to promote, feel free to reach out to us, and we can certainly work something out and go from there.
I did look it up. It is at Jake Scholl Music.
There it is. So that's where you can find us, and the places we're going to be. This will be our May 2024 episode. And if you've got nothing else, sir?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, that'll wrap it up then. Once again, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
And we are Nailed It the Podcast. We will see you guys soon. Have a great week. Later.
Bye-bye.
Nailed it.